Nikon 200-500 shooting positions. Which is best? Shooting upwards, shooting at eye level, shooting downwards, or shooting low down? Welcome back. I'm at Black Duck Lagoon this morning, just chilling out. I just wanted a break, but while I was taking photos, it got me thinking about a topic that is not often discussed, and it is something that we often make mistakes in doing. I do it sometimes in my rush to capture a photo, and that is the angle at which we shoot at. Sometimes we have birds in the trees and we have to shoot up. Most often at times though, we're shooting like the way my camera's set up now, straight on. But sometimes like we get lazy. There's a lagoon in front of me here and I go like, let's just shoot down. Well, instead of shooting down, why don't we lower ourselves, bring the tripod down? I shoot on a tripod, but if you're just shooting handheld, you just drop the camera. Why don't you just kneel down? Today, I want to show you the effects that your photography has on your subject. We take photos and we think they're good. We get home and we go like, why did I shoot up into the trees? It was just a bad shot. We get excited. We go like, oh, I really want that shot. But I want to show you today in a few segments that sometimes shooting up can give you good photos, but you have to plan your photos. Just like shooting straight on. Sometimes you can get good photos, but other times, if there's brush, you won't get a good photo and you'll go like, wow, the bird is beautiful, but look at that background. Same as when we're shooting downwards. Sometimes it can work for us. Most often than not, it won't. So let's start by when we're shooting upwards into the trees, like here, because here darters nest way up in the trees, and sometimes they'll land, or cormorants will land up in the top of the trees. So let's start with when we're pointing upwards. Here we go. Look at that. Zooming in, there's an Australian ibis up there. Let's take a photo of it. Looks great. There's a background, there's trees blurring. There's another bird. Let's take a photo of it. You see the problem? When we're shooting up, we've got the sky, but we can also have trees in the background, and this can detract from our subject. Now here are some samples that I've taken of shooting upwards. Sometimes they've worked, sometimes they haven't. Sometimes I've just had to be patient. But in this photo here, the bird was just feeding on some nectar. There was a lot of background. I just waited a bit. Now I've got the sky behind it and the bird's sort of looking, and it's great. I'm really pointing upwards. On this day, like I was like this because the bird was quite high, the tree was quite high, but it worked. But most of the time, this is the hardest position to shoot at. Now I'm not saying don't shoot, I'm saying be mindful of your background, like always. If it's a bird that you've never photographed before, then all bets are off. Like you just want that bird just to keep in your catalogue saying, I photographed it. Mightn't be the best photograph, but you've got a record of that bird. What I'm saying is that on a day-to-day basis, when you go out, shooting upwards is the hardest position to master. Now, when it comes to photographing raptors, we often have to shoot upwards into the sky. But here are 3 photos to show you how even shooting into the sky can give you a good photo, but can also give you a bad photo. So this one here looks very nice. This osprey is just flying towards me. It has its fish in its talons. But now look at this one here. The osprey is just about directly above me, but there is no depth to the image. I'm just shooting nearly vertical up. It has a nice wingspan, but to me, it's not an awesome photo. Now this last image here shows why I like shooting raptors when I can. This osprey was flying towards me, the sun was shining on its wings, and it was holding a large dead branch that it was carrying to its nest. You can see between these 3 photos how you can have a good photo, how you can have a mediocre photo, and how you can have an awesome photo while shooting raptors in the sky. What about shooting straight on, like this? We've got some birds out here. Let's take a photo of them. Looks great. Here's some samples of the same way, shooting straight on. The first one here is a male fairy wren, just singing his heart out, trying to impress the ladies. The background just blurs out and the image is beautiful. But then I noticed just beside him, there's a female there and she's looking. But she's looking direct at me thinking like, what are you doing taking a photo of me? Look at the background in this fairy wren. Can you see that the background is very distracting? It's just full on. The bird is beautiful, but there's so much stuff happening in the background that it's hard seeing the bird. Now take a look at another one here where it works beautifully. What about shooting downwards? Like I stated, I shoot on a tripod. Most of you would just be shooting handheld. I have the shakes, so I find because I shoot video as well, I need the tripod. But I can see we've got some ducks there just swimming around. I'm just going to zoom in. I'm shooting downwards. Now, I use the Nikon 200-500. The problem is most of us aren't lucky enough to be able to afford an f4 lens for wildlife photography. The Nikon 200-500 has a fixed aperture of f5.6, so whether I'm at 200 or 500, I can shoot at f5.6, and that's what I do. Very rarely will I move from f5.6. I get sharp photos at f5.6, but the problem is, even at f5.6 is shooting downwards, I have a lot of depth of field. My subject is not defined from the background. And here are some examples. Look at this first image here. The bird looks great, but it's lost in all the water lilies. Now look at the others, how sometimes it works. And look at this last image here. This was taken from an observation deck at the Australian Zoo. I was at least 6 meters up shooting downwards, and there was these two water hens having this huge fight, but it works. So you can see that sometimes it will work, but most often than not, it will not work. This is the worst position to try to photograph in. Just like shooting upwards, it's very hard to master, but it can be done. It just depends on your subject. The last one, and the one that is preferred, especially if we're shooting water birds, is to get down low. Let me show you how I do it. Now look how low I am. Can you see that? Some of you, if you're young and you're really keen, you're going to lie down on the ground if you're able to. I'm nearly 61. That's out of the question. I've had a heart operation. I cannot lie down on the ground. So I improvise. I've got this little tripod here, homemade. I'll put a link up here if you want to see how I made this little tripod. But you can get them on eBay or on Amazon for around $50. And if you're going to shoot quite a bit low down, they're a great investment because you don't have to hand hold, so you can get very stable photography. Wait, so you just saw my hat fly away, just land in the water, had to quickly stop. Luckily I had my ARTCISE tripod here, extended out quickly and just got it, but it's soaking wet now. If you don't want to spend to get a tripod like this, just shoot handheld. But the good thing with the tripod is that it keeps a level base. You're not moving up and down, especially if you're going to do video like I do. Now, while I was setting the camera up, I had a black swan come in very close and take a look at these couple of photos. Can you see? I'm not at the waterline. I'm only about 40 centimeters off the ground. Can you see how it looks? If you think back on the other photos, look at the different angles that it could have been. Here are some examples of why it is very good to get low to the ground, because even at f5.6 you won't get much depth of field, and this will make your photos go wow. They will pop. People will look and they'll go, amazing photo, how did you do that? Very easy, getting low to the ground and shooting straight on. Shooting low like that, you've always got stuff in the background when you're shooting low. And the further your background is away from you, the better your photos are going to be. And on lakes like this, that is so easy to do. The birds can get a bit close to you, the trees in the background will be far, photos will be amazing. If you don't have a tripod, let's take the tripod away. Charles, I don't have a tripod. Don't want to go out to the expense right now. I just want to see if I can do it. Very hard hand holding like this. But you know, you got a foot here. Just about everybody's got feet, right? I just rest the camera like this. I can get very low. I've got some ducks over here. I can move around, and I just use my screen here. I tilt the screen up. I make sure that my focus point is in the center. How do you do that? Very easily. On the Nikons, I just press the OK button. And what focus mode do I use? I just use AF small, which is a small square, so that I have the best chance of getting my bird in focus. So I got some ducks here. Let's see if we can get the ducks, eh? I'm out to 500 mils. Make sure that I'm in the center, press OK. I just lose track of them. Oh, hang on, let's go for the swan. I can see the swan better. Oh, he's eating, there we go, look at that. I can see I've got a water hen here. Last photo, let's take a photo of the water hen here. It's just sitting on the log. Now, I'll just quickly take a look to make sure I was in focus. Press the play button. Beautiful. There are 4 different positions that you can use. Whether you're shooting up into the sky, whether you're shooting level, whether you're shooting downwards, or whether you got low to the ground, you can achieve great photos. It's you, it's not the camera. You're the person taking photos. You're the person that can judge whether that photo is going to be a hit or whether it's going to be a miss. And like always, practice. Practice makes a better photographer. Practice will get you better photos. Don't think that the photos that I take of wildlife now just happen like that. I've been taking wildlife photos for a long time, and you learn as you go along. Even now, sometimes I go out and go like, I get excited. You see a bird up in the tree and you just get excited, or you see a bird in the brush and you go like, wow, I've got to take a photo of that. When you get home, you go like, yep, that was a good photo, but I'm not going to post it onto my social media because although I like the bird, the background is just terrible. So if you found value in this video, give it a big thumbs up. Stay safe, enjoy wildlife photography, learn as you go like everybody does, and you will become a better wildlife photographer. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.